Good evening from Scotland, and if you're wondering what this is a maker's mark for David Methven, who was a owner of a pottery in Kirkcaldy. There was 3 or 4 generations of his family, and basically he owned all the potteries in Kirkcaldy at one point through the family history. So I thought I would just let you see this, because this is one of his trademarks that he used to export to Burma. Now, there was a big export market in all his wares, and this is a particularly good example. Now, the topic for today is Scottish Spongeware. Now, I'm just going to explain about the kilt. It's a Cameron kilt. It's Scottish. My second name is Cameron. I'm a writer from the East Neuk of Fife, and I collect pottery on the beach. So this is some of my collection, which I've tried to structure for you so you get a good overview of what you're about to see. There you are. Just quick aerial shot of the pieces I've selected to talk about. Now, you will understand that I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm going to select a few topics and explain that to you, why I selected the topics and what they may reveal about Scottish Spongeware pottery. Right. So, what do we have here in this apparent Scottish chaos? Well, it's a long history of one pottery belonging to David Methven. Now, there was David Methven and there was his sons. And on the maker's marks for Methven pottery, we have it variously styled as DM and S, just Methven, David Methven and Sons. So all these various permutations appear chronologically. Obviously we can date certain pieces to when he had his sons, because the maker's mark changes to DM Methven and Son at that point, and then it changes to DM Methven and Sons at another point. But that's for a later video. What we're going to concentrate on now is the colours, the palettes that you can get on these pieces of pottery. Now, the palettes can sometimes be indicative of how old the pieces are, but what I'm going to do first is go into how common certain colour palettes are, right? What you'll see here is a red and green. So I'm just going to go in a bit closer to the red and green ones. Now you'll notice that these are not all the same colour. Some are like a sage green, some are a teal green, some are a sort of dark green, some are very vibrant teal green, and there's that beautiful lime. And you'll notice on these lime pieces there's a particular style which looks like a rose. Now these are quite common where I go to collect, and this is your most common spongeware colours, the red and the green. The lime less so, and the lime and blue even more rare. In this next part we're going to explore what I would like to call rim pieces. And as you'll see, each one of these has been rimmed with a specific colour. This one has a double red rim with a flower motif in the middle. This one has a beautiful lime leaf in the middle and a double rim. A red rim again. Another red rim. And down here we go from thin rims to thick rims. Go from a lovely blue to a darker blue. More blue. Here we have a green rim appearing. Brown and red. So all of these pieces, as you can see, this one has a red rim, but it's a different motif. So all of these permutations, all the colours you can see here, there's a particularly nice piece, particularly rare piece, are going to tell you something about the age of the piece and potentially where it was made. Because all of these pieces of spongeware were produced in Ireland, in Scotland, in England, in Wales. Now there's a particularly nice piece there, if small, and it has black and red rim. And this nice piece here has a black rim. So all of these rim pieces are clues to when the pieces are made chronologically. Now the earlier palettes, which we'll go into soon, you can see on some of these pieces on the rims, the red and blue, the browns and red borders, and up here the purple and blue border. Now these two are very special pieces to me. One has a multicoloured rim and one has a double band with a yellow and black rim, and this one is yellow and black. Now, not only are these rare palettes, they're rare rims. In this section here we can see some of the rarer colours of the spongeware that we find. Now here is a particularly nice piece. It's dark grey and blue. This one is brown and green. This one is tricolour. There's red, blue and green. Red, yellow and blue. Another red, yellow and blue. So you can understand why I like this piece, because it's a very complex palette. Here's another tricolour piece, and another, and another. And down at the bottom we have another tricolour piece. Now what you'll notice about these are particularly vibrant and rare pieces. Of particular rarity is this purple and yellow piece, as is this with the yellow and red. It's almost a burgundy. And this lovely piece here with the turquoise, yellow and red. Now you can see the range of motifs on these brown pieces, and you can see the range of the borders. The repeat design used either a sponge to stamp the colour on, or a spatter stick to spatter the colour on. So spatter stick and sponge are usually in a lot of pieces intertwined. So on these pieces we have a variety of motifs. These are all the brown pieces. We have almost like a vine or shamrock, like almost Grecian. One there. And you can see that the repeat designs have been hand done because they're not equally spaced. The dimensions are different. So that's just a reintroduction to a selection of the brown spongeware. The brown spongeware is probably the least popular, but it's a rarity. Some people don't pick it up, some people leave it, but I think it's particularly nice. Right, so we'll move on to the green pieces. Now as you see, again, there's border bits, the rims, and there's various motifs. One that looks like a pineapple, one that looks like a shamrock, one stars and circles, cogwheels, vine-like with flowers, lots of floral pieces. And floral pieces you'll find in all the colours. This is one of my favourite pieces here. It's a floral piece, but it's like it looks potentially grey on the camera, but it is in fact a very musty old coloured green, sagey green. And the same with this piece. It's a very dark, old leather bound book green. It's lovely. So I'm just trying to show you the different motifs that you'll find on the pieces, and that's a range of the older pieces there. Right, next we're going to move on to the blue spongeware. Now a lot of people mistake this for transferware. They think, oh, that's another piece of transferware, but it's not. It's spongeware, and you have a round piece here with floral. You have a dark blue piece, floral again. This is a spatterware piece, which makes it slightly older, in conjunction with sponges, of course. You have an almost navy blue floral, lighter blue floral, and there is a lovely, one of my favourites, geometric piece with black flowers, black or dark grey flowers, and another piece of dark grey floral there. So as you can see, lots of floral motifs. Now this one's particularly interesting as well. It's burgundy and grey with a red rim. Now this combination of colour palette is very rare, and as I've said, so are these tri-colour pieces. So blue spongeware is quite easy to miss on that beach. The transfer wear that you find there is definitely crisper, but these you can see are sponged. Right, I'm going to move on to the red and blue pieces. There's a nice geometrical one there, red and blue. These are rare, not as common as the red and green. So you can see for yourself the style of the motifs, and these would appear on the body of the either earthenware or porcelain pieces that the pottery produced. Most earthenware spongeware was utility grade, and so people used it in their houses, not for best, just for their everyday meals, or they'd use just plain white china. But spongeware was a technique mostly carried out on piecework and done by women, what you called half-timers, or by young boys. So there you are, a nice range of the motifs that you'll find on the pieces, and red and blue, and there's a couple of heart-shaped bits there as well. Anything that could be a repeat motif was used, and the sponges, marine sponges, cut to size, put on the end of a stick, into the paint and onto the earthenware. But as I say, it would be earthenware or porcelain. So the things that are, because porcelain was harder to make, had to be fired. For instance, this piece, you can feel it, it's porcelain. And this tri-coloured piece is earthenware. Now I've already drilled a hole in that. You just need a Dremel, some water, a face mask, and something to protect your eyes, and a diamond coated drill, and you can happily drill through a piece of this earthenware very fast. It isn't rocket science, like I always say, as long as you do it safely. So there's your earthenware, and here is a piece of porcelain spongeware, which is a rather gorgeous piece. I do like that piece a lot. That's why it's already made into something that I can wear. And the second favourite, I would say, is this one, which is like that greeny black and blue. So moving on, another one of my favourite pieces is this knob off the top of a teapot. It's perfectly round and it has a single motif. Now these motifs, as I say, were repeated on lots of pieces of pottery. You would probably find that round the middle of the teapot. All these pieces are red, so there's another motif. And another. So these would be all the shapes of the sponges in the factory or the pottery. There you go. And this piece I particularly like, so made that into a pendant. It's got a beautiful line to it, beautiful curve to the line. And there you are. One that looks like a bit like a fish to me. So as you see, a big range of different reds. Some more burgundy than others. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. So in conclusion then, you might choose a piece of jewellery made out of this pottery because you like the motif, or you like the colours. You like the fact it's got lots of different colours on it, more than 2, up to 4, or you might choose it simply because you like the shape. Now this one I think has it all. It has all the colours, it has a lovely pendant shape, and it's very rare. So as I say, you might choose it because you like the motif, the flowers, say for instance, or you might like the combination of the colours, or you might be more historically alert and like it because of the borders, the rarity value, like this rare black and yellow piece, or this one, yellow, black and red, or you may simply like it because it appeals to your modern sensibilities. For instance, this piece, which is a very modern, although, you know, it's not modern, it's antique pottery, modern bright lime colour. And those of us that lived through the 70s would know that, you know, lime green became very popular then, and then we were into the 80s where we were all wearing these day glow stretchy lycra things, and it was on that as well. So I'm going to choose 2 or 3 things that represent my collection here, because it is vast. These are pieces I selected because they're either a rarer motif, or they're rare colours, or they show particular combinations of colour, or because they're rim pieces. So there's lots of variations in the ways that you could organise your collection of Scottish spongeware. I like to do it like this, like the rimmed pieces, the colours. Some people would do it on, say for instance, the motifs, like they might like the heart pieces for example, or the pieces with bows on, or the cogwheels. But I tend to like a combination of them all, so like I say, I'm going to choose a couple. Definitely this one, because, as I say, very representative of the range of palettes that you could get. I'm going to choose this one because I know it's a very rare piece. I'm going to choose this one because it's also a very rare piece, and because I'm a historian, but it's more what I'm interested in. Now this is particularly pretty, and as I say, rare because of the amount of colours in it. And it's floral, which will appeal to less tomboyish amongst us. So there you go, these pieces, and of course I do like purple with a rare motif and with this dark blue rim. I think this piece is particularly Scottish, and for this reason I've awarded it with a little thistle charm. Particularly Scottish, particularly beautiful, and particularly rare. So this is one of my favourite pieces to wear. And as I say, all of these can be found on one particular beach in Scotland. And for whatever reason you choose a piece will be determined when you see it and how you react to it. And I particularly like green. I must say I do particularly like green. So there's another one of my favourite pieces. Is the one with the pineapple. I'm just going to call them pineapple shapes. They're diamonds with squares in and things like that. And these single motif pieces I do like as well. The little shamrocks. And as for rarity, this is probably one of the rare ones. Now this is one of the pieces I've made. A wire wrap things. It's quite intricate, as you'll see. And I've put a couple of bells just to jazz it up. But this is a nice rare blue spongeware piece. So there you are. Kind of things you can do if you're crafty. You like craft. Wire wrapping them in copper and then soldering them together to make bowls. There's loads of things you can do. Drilling them. That sits particularly nice across the back of your wrist. And you can put charms on to, you know, extend the length and just put a chain on. I tend not to put chains on because, you know, people's wrists are all different sizes and things like that. They can do that themselves. They can just add whatever they like, a piece of leather. So yeah, so it's eminently wearable, this stuff. The spongeware, rare Scottish spongeware pottery, and I think that's all I really want. So thank you for listening. It won't be the last one on spongeware that I'll make. I will make more in future. There are some pieces that haven't made it into this film, but they will the next time. So all I'm going to do now is bring them all together, mess them all up and cause even more chaos. There you go. And see, this is the way you'd find them on the beach. All of these gorgeous pieces. it all fit in to a very small suitcase. So here we go. Mudlarking, muddy waters in Scotland, finishing off our tour of part, and let me reiterate that, part of our collection. These are the ones that I've had in small bags and things like that in the house, but I do have more. I do have loads more, and as I said, my intention at the beginning of collecting was to make a Gaudi type building in my garden, which is still on the cards. Once I've worked out all the technicalities. Okay then, so hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to leave you with a thought of David Methven and the generations after him that were also called David Methven, our pottery man from Kirkcaldy. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this film on Scottish Spongeware. Bye bye then, and I'll see you at the beach.